Welcome to this. I don't know what this is yet. You don't know what this is yet, but I want to sit down every week with you guys and talk about what my life is beyond the rink and beyond the ice. What it takes to be an Olympic athlete, what it takes to be a girlfriend, to be a dog mom, and just everything beyond the rink, the glitz, the glamour, the perfection, and show you the real life stuff. First of all, I think I need to start with who am I? Who is Olivia Smart? And how did I get here in this moment, Montreal, Canada, training for my second Olympic Games, which is a very full circle moment to think about and how I got here from starting figure skating at 9 years old, moving halfway across the world at 14 years old. I need to try and keep this short and sweet, but I don't think it's going to be that short and sweet. It's pretty long. I went to an ice rink with some friends and I really enjoyed it. And in order to continue going with my friends every weekend, where I was at that age where I wanted to be with them every weekend, be sociable, the thing to do in England, specifically Sheffield, England, was to go to Ice Sheffield and figure skate and go to the foam parties. I remember going home to my mom and being like, oh, I loved it, I want to go back. For safety reasons, my mom had me do figure skating lessons just to make sure I didn't hurt myself. Now I blame her, and it's her fault that I'm currently here in this moment doing what I'm doing, because those lessons turned into me falling in love with the sport and then eventually moving halfway across the world at 14 to pursue my dreams, which is really crazy to think about because I used to play football, I used to play field hockey, I used to play netball, but I loved theater. I remember doing all my school plays. So I just remember when I was figure skating, I would just love dancing and singing along to the music. So it just fit my persona in another way. And I think I enjoyed the challenge of it being a sport that nobody else really does in England. It was so unique. And I really like being different, as you can't tell from what you know about me so far. So skipping ahead, I had my first ice dance partner, which was the most bizarre thing in the world to me. But I remember doing it because it was the next thing in my career. Otherwise, I think I would have quit. I was at that age where I was either going to really pursue a sports career and move halfway across the world, or I was going to stay at home and be with my friends in England, go to all the parties, not miss out on the social aspect of what being a teenager is. And I wanted to stay home and be social, and be a teenager, and be with my friends, and finish school. That was my biggest thing. But my mom and dad set up a meeting with my headmistress at school and discussed the possibilities of me leaving school and moving to the US and not finishing high school. So long story short, they planned all of this without me, got my ticket to the US, and before you knew it, I was 14 years old, on my way to the US with my first ever ice dance partner. Linda, you're licking a lot, baby girl. I love you. All I can hear is, thank you. Hi. Okay. Yeah, and before you knew it, I was on my way to the US at 14 years old with my first ever ice dance partner, not having a clue in the world what I was doing or what I was getting myself into. My life completely changed from there. I am 28 years old now. I have lived away from my family and friends in the UK for that long. But I've made my own little family all the way over here. Hey, Miss Linda? Yeah. So I'm in the US. I spend up to 5 years in the US. And then next thing you know, I'm moving to Canada. And here I am in Montreal, Canada, training with the biggest ice dance international school in the world. I've been here for over 11, 12 years now. I've lost count. And I'm currently training for my second Olympic Games with my third partner in ice dance, which is crazy because I never even thought I would make it with one partner, and now I'm on my third. So good track record, Olivia. It's going to take me a decade to get through all the stories and everything I've experienced in my career, out of my career, in my life, in my relationships and life experiences. But trust me, there's going to be a lot of stories to tell and a lot to talk about with you guys. That's why this is probably the best idea for me to do that because I'm probably not going to write a book. So staying in front of a camera is probably the best option for me and something that I really enjoy doing. My intention with my social media is just to be the most authentic possible version of myself I can be. I want to show the real life stuff in figure skating, out of figure skating, and also what it takes to get to the Olympic Games. Because all you guys see in February 2026, or all you're going to see in February 2026, is the perfection on what we've been working on for the last 9-10 months. You don't get to see every little step, nitty gritty, blood, sweat, tears, drama that goes into it. And there's a lot of that. Just so you know, you can call me at any time. Call me to stop because I will talk.
And I can cut.
Great.
Okay.
So for today's first episode, I want to dive into some of the highest moments of my career and some of the lowest moments of my career, because these moments have shaped me into who I am today and who I want to be in the future. So I'll start with what the highest point in my career was, and I'd say it's pretty cliche because it was the most recent moment in my career, and that was Boston World Championships this past March. I cannot even put into words how much of a dream week that whole event was. Everything from the competition to my family being there, to the results, to the feedback from people, to the fans, like everything in that week was a moment in my career that I will never forget. And also something that I'm going to have a hard time not comparing with in the future. But at the end of a figure skating season, the World Championships is the biggest event other than the Olympic Games. And it's the last event of the season. So everybody is at their peak. Everybody is ready. The results on its own were something that I could never have imagined in my career. We finished 6th overall and 3rd in the free dance. Tim and I came home with a world bronze small medal, which is on my mantelpiece over there and I get to see every day. And I couldn't have pictured that in my existence this early in our career for Tim and I at all. Tim and I finished 20th at Worlds the year prior. And that was a moment in my career where I was like, oh God, why am I doing this? And then I remember holding the bronze medal at Worlds and thinking, this is why I'm doing this. It was such a turnover in my career and a moment that just made everything, the ups and downs that I've been through, make sense and just so worth it in that moment. To top it off, my parents came from England. They haven't come to a World Championships or a major event like this in at least 8 years. So my mom and dad were there. My dad is not a figure skating fan. You have to hold him down in his seat to sit and watch a full event because he cannot sit still. He absolutely loved this competition. He talks about it to this day, and because of how well we did and how the event turned out, he's like, I'm your lucky charm. I have to come to every event now. So not just for me, but for my parents to have the outcome and that experience in their memories and their experiences was a dream come true. I also had the honor of having my boyfriend's mom and dad there, who is right here. Hi, this is my roommate.
What up?
Boyfriend and best friend.
That's right.
But Jean-Luc's parents also came to Boston Worlds to watch. Fun fact, Jean-Luc's parents didn't even go to watch him at World Championships when he was in his skating career. So I felt pretty honored from this. This was also the first time that my mom and dad and his mom and dad were meeting. So 1, it was the biggest event of my career so far. 2, our parents were meeting for the first time. And 3, we'd flown his parents out there because we wanted them to be there. So I'm like, there's a lot of pressure on this week. And our parents met, I think, the night before the event, and I couldn't even be there because I had to go to my room and rest and get ready for the event the next day. I remember being laid in bed and thinking, wow, my mom and dad and my future parents-in-law and my boyfriend are sat downstairs all at dinner meeting for the first time, and I'm not there. I was so nervous, but I knew they would be good, and I knew they would be best friends instantly. So that was just a big moment in general. And just having so many special factors to this event and this competition just made it that much more special, not just the results. We walked away with an ISU award, which is also, couldn't even think of that happening. What do you see? Do you want to go see your father? Okay. I've lost my partner in crime. Yeah, we also won an ISU award. We were nominated for Most Entertaining Program and Best Costume. We ended up being finalists for both. I remember sitting at the awards with Ilya Malinin next to me and June from Korea and being like, wow, I'm sat next to like two goated athletes and I'm up against them. And we won Best Costume Award. Got presented the award by Vera Wang herself. So there was just a lot that happened that week where I remember getting to the end, laid in bed, and just not... Can you put your booty hole away?
Straight ass.
Linda! Linda, that's not PG-13.
Oh.
She's seen a squirrel. I feel like we're going to have to get used to this. So diving into the lowest point in my career, I had a couple of rocky years from the 2022 Olympics till this year, actually. There's a quick turnaround. From 2022 until this year, there was a lot of ups and downs. Once my skating partner, Adrian Diaz, retired after the 2022 Olympics, we went to the World Championships and he retired very, very quickly after that season. And I had no clue. And I had no warning, and I had no plan, no backup. I just felt like I'd had my right leg taken away from me. So once he retired, I was left with the unknown of what my career looked like from then. I had actually just peaked at that time. I'd just gone to the Olympic Games. I just placed 8th at the Olympic Games, got an Olympic diploma, literally had the most amazing time, and I was on such a high to then go to the World Championships, top that high with better results, and then find out my partner's retiring. And then I was at my lowest of lows. I didn't have a partner, which meant I didn't have a career. And in ice dance, it's pretty hard to find a partner. So in that moment, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. What do I do from here? I need to find a job. I need to find who I am out of this sport. Something that people have talked about more since then, and something that I've tried to talk about more since then, is the transition from being an athlete to your everyday regular life. And that's something that I had to experience for just under a year, or a year at least. And it was the scariest moment of my life because I know who I am as Olivia the ice skater, and everybody else knows who I am as Olivia the ice skater. But who is she and who am I beyond that? So I went through some grief that summer. I traveled a lot. I put myself in positions of discomfort just to try new things. I even tried to join the circus, for God's sake. Like, I was trying to put my skills in other places that wasn't just figure skating and ice dance. And that was really hard. But yeah, I joined the circus at one point, and we'll show some clips of that another day. That was one of the most humbling moments of my life because I'd literally gone from being on an Olympic stage in front of thousands of people, being that 1% of the world that gets to go to the Olympics, to being a circus artist that is performing at a corporate event handing out champagne glasses. That was very humbling. And then I was lucky. I stepped into the world of reality TV. I got an opportunity to join the TV show Dancing on Ice in the UK. And I was like, you know what? Perfect. I'm going home. I'm going to England and I have a job. And you know what? It's a job on TV, which is in reality TV in England, which is really big. And 2, it's figure skating. I know how to do that. So 1, I was getting paid. 2, I was able to stay busy and do something that was challenging me in a way. Also, on top of this, when my partner retired, my funding stopped. So that was also a big aspect into what I was used to as an Olympic athlete, getting treatment, going to the gym, training on the ice every day, and having the luxury of being supported. But when you're not competing, and when I wasn't competing, I didn't have a partner, that went out of the window really fast. And I was just faced with, okay, I gotta get some stuff together. Long story short, I have a new partner. Things are going great. We had a great season, but it didn't start off so great being a top senior Olympic athlete already in the ice dance field and getting a new partner is pretty rare. You usually have a partner and you stick with that partner for 10 plus years. But I got a new partner at 28 years old after an Olympic Games, after being quite high in the rankings. So I knew it was going to be difficult. Me and my partner Tim knew it was going to be difficult, but I don't think I realized how difficult it was going to be. We know in ice dance, you have to climb the food chain. You don't just start and get to the top right away. You got to serve your time. First season, Tim and I go out. We have programs that we think suit us. We're brand new as a team. We're trying to find content and themes that match us as people and as a team, but we don't know what suits us yet. Everything's brand new to us. So that first season was a testing trial, I'd say. We did okay, but then the second season was also okay. Why I came back to the sport after my first partner retired was because I wasn't ready to be done. I was still young. I felt like I hadn't reached my max yet. I just gained the confidence that I needed from going to the Olympics and experiencing that. It boosted my confidence. It made me a better athlete and a better person, and I wanted to experience what my career was like with that energy. I deserved to continue. So when I got the opportunity to have a new partner and continue skating, I was full of gratitude, and I knew I was doing it because I loved what I was doing and I loved the sport. I had a low moment in many events, but the lowest moment was Nebelhorn Trophy 2024 last year. We were competing our new programs for the first time, and we were really confident going into this event. We felt like we had two really strong vehicles, and this was an Olympic qualifying season, so we knew we had to step it up. We knew we had to be good. And it's not just being good skaters. You need good material. Your routines need to be it. The feedback was good. We did our free dance, our Dune program for the first time, and it was a shit show. It was everything down to the skating, the mentality, the costume, the look, the overall package. It just wasn't there yet. It was still really early in the season, so we know it could have gone places, but that event on its own just shook me in a way that I didn't know how I was going to overcome it. I remember sitting in the locker room afterwards and really, really asking myself while bawling my eyes out, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this again and again just to be stepped on at every event and not step forward and be the champion that I know I am and can be? How do we not fall out of love with this sport? Because that's where I felt like I was going. We had a quick turnaround, and the rest is history because the rest is great. But it was that moment in my career, I think, that I needed to just turn my brain and be like, hey, I gotta knuckle down. We gotta really put our heads together and switch our mentality. Not just what we were producing on the ice and the training, but our mentality as athletes was a huge, huge key. So fast forward a little bit more than a year later, we are heading into our Olympic season. And now that you're seeing this video, I am currently already in China. This is my Grand Prix week. This is my first Grand Prix week. And the Olympic season's kicking off. I can't believe we're already here. The summer flew by like this. Tim and I are going to China for our first Grand Prix, currently already there. And our second Grand Prix will be in Finland. It will be the last Grand Prix. And our hopes this season are to qualify for the Grand Prix final, which it's a bloodbath this year. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. But with our preparation to our first Grand Prix in Chongqing, China, which we actually attended last season, and we loved it. The fans were amazing. The venue's amazing. We had our first event about 4 weeks ago, and that's our first event of the season. So you go, you show your new programs for the first time, you get your feedback, and after that, you probably have a handful of adjustments to make, which we did. So the training from Bratislava, our first event, to China has been just such heads down mentality work. Like, we've had technical work on the ice, mental work off the ice. There's been a lot of hands in the pot to make stuff work for China and to start the Grand Prix season off confidently and securely. Some bumpy moments with costumes, which when you talk about the whole package of skating, not just the on-ice stuff, it's everything around it, including the skating, the look, and your team. So for our costumes, we are currently making a second new Dune costume, and that is ready for China. It took a lot of time to figure out the concept and where we wanted to go with this costume from last year's Dune 1 program. Another thing that we've been dealing with is making our gala program. Oh wait, there's a gala at the Grand Prix events, and we need to put something together that doesn't look like, I can't use foul word, ass. So Tim and I have been brainstorming ideas for a little bit now. We finally have our idea figured out. Tim and I were inspired this year to do a football-themed gala program. That's soccer for you Americans and Canadians. We compete mainly in Europe this year, except China. And we were inspired just with the football world and the crossover that we have because our club, skating club in Spain, is FC Barcelona. And I'm like, how sick would it be to wear an FC Barcelona jersey at nationals, like on home turf? So we're like, hey, how do we take this worldwide? Long story short, our idea was to wear jerseys from each country that we compete in at each event. But that's currently looking to be a little bit of a legal issue. So we're still figuring that out. But we're excited to put this gala program together and perform it for you guys at the gala, hopefully in China and Finland. And even Europeans. Europeans is in my hometown of Sheffield, which is a monumental moment for me in my career. A full circle moment. And possibly rep Sheffield United. So realistically, this is a huge, huge season ahead. This is a huge season in my career. It's the second Olympic season for me, and the last Olympics was during COVID, so that was completely different to how it is now. Tim and I have some major goals for this season. We're excited to experience traveling to different countries, competing in front of all of the fans, all of you guys. We're excited to be performing in China this week. I hope you all watch the event and enjoy the event and follow along this season. And for this, whatever we're calling this and what you can expect. One, I would really like some feedback on what we could call this, the name of what we would call this podcast potentially, and just some feedback from you all. And if you enjoyed it, questions, I'm going to be doing some Q&As at some point and interacting with you all in a new way and trying something new. I hope you all enjoyed.
You want to say bye?
Ciao.